In the complex and often misunderstood dance of human relationships, there's a reality many men fail to see. A truth that carries a powerful impact on how women perceive them. It's a truth hidden in the spaces between words, in the pauses of communication, and in the deliberate choice of stepping back. What happens when you stop talking to her? The answer might surprise you. It creates a profound shift, one that can redefine the dynamics of your connection in ways you might never have expected. This isn't about playing games or following outdated dating rules. It's about understanding the deep psychological interplay of attention, desire, and human nature. When you stop texting, calling, or chasing after her, something primal is triggered within her. It's not a minor reaction, but a seismic shift in how she sees you, and, more importantly, how she feels about you. Many men fall into the trap of believing that the more they talk, the more they text, and the more they stay in her orbit, the stronger the bond will become. But the reality couldn't be further from the truth. Silence, when used wisely, can say more than words ever could. Before you dismiss this idea, take a moment to consider it from a psychological perspective. When you withdraw your attention, you disrupt the predictable rhythm of your interactions. This disruption doesn't just go unnoticed, it demands attention. Women, like men, are wired to value what feels scarce or uncertain. By stepping back, you're not being rude or indifferent. You're allowing her to rediscover what it feels like to miss you. You're creating the space for her to reflect on your absence. And in doing so, you shift the balance of power in your relationship. One of the most striking effects of this shift is that she begins to chase you. When you step back, you're no longer the one constantly reaching out or seeking validation. Instead, she starts to feel the void of your absence. The dynamic changes from you pursuing her to her pursuing you, and this shift is profound. When someone's availability is no longer guaranteed, their value increases. It's human nature to desire what feels just out of reach, and this principle holds true in relationships. Imagine this scenario. You've been texting her every day, ensuring she knows you're thinking of her, and making plans to see her regularly. Suddenly, you decide to pull back. For the first few days, she might not even notice or care. But as time goes on, she'll begin to wonder why you've gone quiet. Questions will start swirling in her mind. Did I do something wrong? Has he lost interest? Is he seeing someone else? This curiosity becomes a powerful force, driving her to seek answers and, ultimately, to seek you. Absence creates a void, and in that void, emotions intensify. The little things you did for her, sending good morning texts, listening to her stories, or simply being there, become glaringly absent. It's in this absence that she starts to miss you, to crave the connection she once took for granted. Memories of your time together replay in her mind, and she begins to see you not as someone who was always there, but as someone who brought genuine value to her life. The consistency you provided, once overlooked, becomes a source of longing. This process isn't about manipulation. It's about allowing natural human emotions to take their course. People don't always appreciate what they have until it's gone. When you're always present and accessible, it's easy for her to overlook your worth. But when you step back, you give her the chance to truly see what she stands to lose. This isn't about punishing her or playing hard to get. It's about respecting yourself and your own boundaries. By stepping back, you're communicating that you won't settle for being taken for granted. Curiosity is another powerful driver in this equation. When you suddenly go quiet, you become a mystery. Human beings are naturally drawn to solve puzzles, and your absence presents one she'll feel compelled to figure out. She'll start analyzing your past conversations, looking for clues, and questioning why you've disappeared. This overthinking keeps you at the forefront of her mind, making her even more invested in figuring out what changed. Moreover, the mystery of your silence introduces a layer of uncertainty. She begins to wonder if you're moving on, meeting someone new, or simply reevaluating the relationship. This uncertainty, while uncomfortable for her, is a catalyst for deep reflection. It forces her to confront her feelings and reevaluate how much she values your presence in her life. The result? She may come to appreciate you in ways she never did before. Stepping back isn't just about creating space. It's also about demonstrating confidence and independence. When you're constantly available, you risk coming across as needy or overly reliant on her attention. But by taking a step back, you show her that you have a life outside of her, that you're not defined solely by your relationship with her. This self-assuredness is incredibly attractive. It signals that you're secure in yourself and that you don't need constant validation to feel valued. This newfound appreciation she develops isn't just about missing you. It's about realizing the unique value you bring to her life. She begins to see you as someone who isn't just there to fulfill her needs, but as a person with your own goals, dreams, and boundaries. This respect for your individuality strengthens the bond between you, creating a deeper and more genuine connection. The truth is, relationships thrive on balance. When one person is always chasing, it creates an imbalance that can lead to resentment and complacency. By stepping back, you're not abandoning her. You're giving her the opportunity to step forward. You're allowing her to meet you halfway, to invest in the relationship, and to show her appreciation for what you bring to the table. In this dynamic shift, you also protect yourself from being taken for granted. When you recognize your own worth and refuse to settle for less than mutual respect and appreciation, you set a standard for how you deserve to be treated. This self-respect isn't just important for your relationship, it's essential for your own well-being. So, what happens when you stop talking to her? She starts chasing you. She begins to miss you. She wonders where you went and why you stepped back. She comes to value you more, realizing that she may have taken you for granted. And in this process, the dynamics of your relationship change in ways that make it stronger and more balanced. This isn't about playing games or trying to manipulate her feelings. It's about understanding the psychology of attraction and using it to foster a healthier, more respectful connection. By stepping back, you're not just creating space for her to miss you. You're creating space for a deeper, more meaningful relationship to grow. And in the end, that's what truly matters. When you step back and allow silence to fill the space where your words once were, you offer her a gift that few men realize they possess: the gift of perspective. This absence, while subtle, often speaks louder than any gesture or declaration. It's in this silence that the weight of your presence becomes most evident. She begins to feel the emptiness of a conversation that no longer flows, the absence of a person who once brought lightness, laughter, and care. This realization doesn't happen immediately. It takes time for the void to settle in, but when it does, its impact is undeniable. As she reflects on your absence, she begins to notice the little things, those small gestures you might have thought went unnoticed, the way you listened to her stories, the way you remembered the details that mattered to her, and even the way your presence made her feel grounded. These aren't just memories. They're anchors that tether her thoughts back to you. The moments that seemed ordinary when they happened are now magnified in their significance. She'll start to realize how those small things weren't so small after all. In this period of silence, her curiosity grows stronger. She'll start to wonder about your life without her, imagining where you might be and what you're doing. Are you seeing someone new? Have you moved on? These thoughts create a natural pull, a desire to know more about the man who suddenly became less accessible. That intrigue, that mystery, is an irresistible force, one that compels her to seek answers. And as she does, she becomes more invested in you. But this dynamic isn't about playing hard to get. It's about showing that you're not willing to overextend yourself for someone who doesn't reciprocate. It's about respecting your own boundaries and allowing her to respect them too. When you step back, you give her the chance to realize what she wants. She's no longer responding to your constant presence. She's deciding on her own terms that she values you. This is the foundation of a healthier, more balanced relationship. Her eventual pursuit of you isn't born out of manipulation or guilt. It's born out of genuine realization. When someone starts to understand what they've been missing, their actions reflect it. She might start reaching out more, sending texts first, or finding excuses to see you. These actions aren't forced. They come from a place of clarity. She's no longer taking you for granted because she's had the chance to reflect on what you bring to her life. Stepping back also allows you to see things from a clearer perspective. When you're constantly in pursuit, it's easy to overlook how the other person truly feels about you. Does she genuinely care? Or is she simply accustomed to your presence? By stepping away, you give her the opportunity to show her interest or lack thereof. This is crucial for your own emotional well-being. It protects you from investing in a one-sided relationship and allows you to focus on connections that are mutual and fulfilling. This process also empowers you. It reminds you that you're not defined by someone else's attention or approval. When you realize that your worth isn't tied to how often you're acknowledged, you free yourself from the need to constantly prove your value. This self-assuredness is magnetic. It draws people to you because it shows that you're confident, independent, and secure in who you are. As the days or weeks pass and she starts to miss you, you'll notice a shift in her demeanor. She may become more attentive, more eager to connect, and more appreciative of the time you spend together. This isn't just about rekindling her interest. It's about building a deeper connection based on mutual respect and understanding. She'll come to see you not as someone who's always available at her convenience, but as someone who values their own time and energy. And that realization changes everything. The power of stepping back isn't just in how it affects her. It's in how it affects you. It gives you the chance to reassess what you want in a relationship. Are your needs being met? Does she bring value to your life? Or are you the one doing all the emotional labor? These are important questions that can only be answered when you take a step back and observe the relationship from a distance. When she finally reaches out, her actions will speak volumes. If she values you, you'll see it in her effort to reconnect. If she doesn't, you'll have saved yourself from investing further in a relationship that wasn't meant to be. Either way, you win. You've set a standard for how you deserve to be treated, and you've allowed her to rise to that standard or not. The beauty of this approach is that it's rooted in authenticity. You're not pretending to be someone you're not. You're simply prioritizing yourself and your own well-being. This isn't about games or manipulation. It's about creating a dynamic where both people can thrive. And when that happens, the relationship becomes stronger, healthier, and more fulfilling. In the end, stepping back isn't about giving up on someone or testing their loyalty. It's about creating space for clarity, for understanding, and for genuine connection. It's about valuing yourself enough to know that you deserve to be with someone who truly appreciates you. And when she realizes your worth, when she feels the impact of your absence and the value of your presence, you'll know that the bond you're building is one worth having. So, the next time you find yourself constantly chasing someone's attention, remember this. Sometimes the best way to show your worth is to step back and let your absence speak for itself. True connection isn't about how much you chase. It's about how much you're valued when you're not chasing at all. And that in itself is a lesson worth learning.